Hey y'all, hey. Okay, disclaimer. This video was recorded on December the 16th, okay? So don't come for us if y'all see Christmas trees in our background. Okay? Brown Book series. Let's go.
Open up your brown book, baby. It's for you, it's for us. The fantasies, no one can judge us, no one can judge us. This is for us. Open up your brown book, baby. It's for you.
Hey y'all, hey, it's your girl Shay Baby, and welcome back to another episode of the Brown Book series. Did you guys miss me? Yes, you did. I missed you guys too. Every week I'm like, yo, where's my Brown Book series crew? Okay, this person tonight. Y'all all know that I'm a Brenda Jackson fan. Y'all know I love me. That's my auntie. Y'all all know that. And y'all all know that I'll be stalking Ron Butler because he does her narration for like a whole glomerate. Is glomerate a word? Anyway, y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about. Of her books. And I'm like, yo, I have to talk to Ron because Ron rocked me to sleep plenty of nights. Woo! So, ladies and gentlemen, y'all know what we do. It's 6 o'clock. It's Wednesday night. So go call your friends. Let them know Brown Book series is on. And we'll be right back with voice, actor, extraordinaire, award-winning, earphones awards, all the awards that you can get for talking. Ron Butler has all of them. So, we'll be right back with Ron Butler.
Brown Book Series presents Raw Romance Readers and Writers Experience. Save the date, October 28th and 29th, 2022. Brown Book Series presents Raw Romance Readers and Writers Experience, October 28th and 29th, 2022. At the Westin Old Town, Alexandria, featuring some of your favorite romance authors, Brenda Jackson, Beverly Jenkins, Iris Boland, Deborah Fletcher Mello, and so much more. The Raw experience will include book signings, meet and greet, photo ops, vendors, shopping, surprise celebrity guests, and live performances. Registration is wide open at brownbookseries.com. Save the date, October 28th and 29th, 2022. Brown Book Series presents Raw Experience.
And we're back. Did you guys go get your snacks, call your friends, and all that good stuff? All right, I know you did. Check this out. Please, everybody. I'm so super excited. I'm more excited right now than I've been talking to authors. I don't know. It's Ron. Oh my God, I'm so super excited. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, bring it to the stage. For the first time here at the Brown Book series, please welcome Ron Butler.
Hey. Wow, it's a real pleasure to be here. So thank you so much for asking me on. This is exciting.
Ron.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you, you have rocked me to sleep plenty of nights. I mean, I don't understand. Like, I just don't get it. I'm up here like, who found him? Where did Auntie Brenda get him from? And how, if you ever retire, you just cannot stop doing Brenda Jackson's books.
I don't think Brenda would let me stop doing her books, and I'm thrilled.
Oh my God. Okay, so let me quit fanning out because that's exactly what I'm doing right now. So, Ron.
Yes.
Can you let us know a little bit about you? What is like a day in the life in sunny California?
A day in my life?
Yes, a day in your life, honey. We get all up in your business.
I recently moved to Palm Springs.
Oh.
So I'm no longer in LA.
Okay.
When I first started narrating, you used to have to go into the studio to narrate. The producers would hire an engineer, and you'd go into the studio, and that was pretty much standard if you lived in New York or LA. But the industry has been trending toward people having their own booths at home. And then when the pandemic happened, it shifted completely to home studio. So I have this really nice booth. I I can show it to you later if you want, if that's of any interest. But I have this really nice booth in my house.
Yes, we're interested.
And,
You know, we nosy. We real interested. We want to see where the magic resides.
And a normal day is I get up and, you know, I do a little bit of journaling, a little bit of meditating. I do a vocal warm up, and I get in that booth and I narrate for 4 or 5 hours. Yeah.
4 or 5 hours straight.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a break maybe every 2 hours. You know, I'll take a lunch break and go back in. But yeah, it's anywhere from a 5 to 7 hour day every day that I'm narrating a book.
My God.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Marathon.
I absolutely love it. So how did you know?
How come your skin looks so smooth? Is that just youth? Because I'm thinking, mind you, I'm a lot older than you, but I see the wrinkles on here. You look so good.
Thank you. How you got to catch it from this end, this angle?
I'm going to put my hand like this. Okay.
Right. One of my friends, she was like, when she takes pictures, she said, "So you have to do the elongated." I be forgetting. So I be like, you know, yes, honey, that's that old what the old folks said, little dove on your face. I said, a little dove on your face. Ron,
yes.
How did you know that you was going to be a voice actor? Well, no, first of all, how did you know you want to be an actor? Because you are a bona fide actor.
Yeah. I was that kid in school that they always made like the MC for the pageants, and you know what I mean? Whenever there was a skit or a sketch in grade school, they'd be, "Oh, come, Ronnie, would you come do this?" And my father is a performer. My father I'm originally from the Bahamas.
Okay, yes.
My father was a singer-songwriter, and he was the #1 recording artist in the Bahamas for about 6 decades.
Wow.
And they call him the godfather of Bahamian music. And he's the same name as mine, Ronnie Butler. And so I grew up around that and, you know, being on stage and whatnot. So I've always liked being on stage. But when I went to college, my mother was like, "You got to get a real degree, you know, you have something to fall back on." Right.
Right.
And I went to college, and then I went to, you know, I had a real day job forever. And then, you know, I just couldn't stay away from it. And I eventually moved to New York, and I was in a good theater company there. And I started doing theater, and then I got TV shows, and, you know, and what I really wanted to do, my passion just finally came out. And I've been doing it ever since. You know, I got a late start. A lot of people you see start in their teens or study theater in college. I didn't start studying acting until I was about 26 or 27. And I didn't move to New York until I was 30. Because I read LA until I was 40, you know, so.
Well, because I read that you resided at one point was it DC?
Yeah. So when I graduated from college, I moved to DC, and I worked for a law firm as an economic consultant.
So I'm like, what in the hell does economic consulting do? Like, I said, Ron went and got some old bullshit job. Yeah. What is that?
I literally spent days like doing spreadsheets and crunching numbers for international trade cases. I was number crunching and writing analysis about numbers and trends in industries. I mean, it was for real. It was real stuff. But at night, I was taking acting classes, you know, and on the weekends I was doing theater, and all the lawyers that I worked with would come and see my theater things at night and on weekends, you know. So when I finally left to go to New York, they were very supportive. They were like, you know, that's where you belong. I mean, it was great here, but we know that's what you really want to do. So they wish me well. But that's 6 years I lived in DC. That's what I did.
That is so freaking sweet. So because you start out with your classmates and everything, you always was the one hosting the shows or whatnot. Mm-hmm. But so when did you decide to make voice narration a thing for you? Like when you was like, you know what, I'm going to go off the screen.
Yeah, I can tell you that it was a complete sort of accident.
Tell us about it. What you did over there, Ron?
I had been on this show with Keke Palmer on Nickelodeon called True Jackson. Mm-hmm. And I had been on Keke's show, and we had 3 great seasons, and the show ended, and I needed money. And I got together with a friend of mine, and he said, "What are you doing for money?" And I said, "I don't know, I need some." And he said, "Have you ever thought about narrating audiobooks, you know?" And I was like, "Books on tape?" Because that's what it used to be called. It used to be called Books on Tape. And I said, I said, you know, I like to read. I love to read, and I like to talk because it sounds like a dream job. So he hooked me up with a producer. And at the time, about 3 weeks later, that same producer, I hooked me up. He sent my resume to this guy. And about 3 weeks later, this producer got this big, like 1,400 page book.
Wow.
And he needed 6 Black actors, narrators for it. And at that time, this was like 7 years ago, there weren't that many, there weren't that many African American minority narrators in LA, much less before. And so it was like opportunity meets, preparedness. And he called me up, and I went in and I auditioned, and he was like, "This is great. You're a natural." And so I became one of those 6 people. And then after that, this is a great story. So let me know. Just tell me when you get bored. But
no, listen. Did you hear me say you have rocked me to sleep many nights? I'm over here just listening to you talk.
So after I did this book, about a month later, he was talking to another producer at a different company who was saying, "Oh my gosh, I've got these books coming in, and I need more. I need more Black narrators." And the one producer said, "Oh, I just worked with this great guy. His name Ron Butler. You should definitely check him out." And this publisher said, "Wait a minute, Ronnie Butler, who used to live in Washington, D.C.?" It turns out this producer was with me in the first professional theater job I ever had. We were on stage together in a 3-person play.
Oh my God. God wink.
That's what I always tell people, that, anything in entertainment and almost any business is a relationship business, Yeah. And who would have thought that relationship 30 years ago, literally 25, well, at that time it was 20 years ago, would have paid off, right? Would have found itself and would have bubbled up somewhere else. But that's what happened. And that was the beginning of my audiobook career. Yeah. And I didn't even know. I was like, at that time, I was like, this is a great side hustle. I didn't think of it as anything more than a side hustle, And then I did this beautiful book set in Antigua called Till the Well Runs Dry. And I did it with one of the top female narrators of color. Her name is Bonnie Turpin. Right. And it got nominated for an Audie Award, which is sort of our version of the Oscars.
You're right.
When that happened, then everything just blew up. And I was like, someone came to me and said, "Listen, if you want to make this career, you can make a go of it, but now is the time to do it because you have all this exposure." And I said, "You know what? I'm going to make a go of it. I love the work. I love the work is so fulfilling to me. And that's the most you can ask for, is to have work that's fulfilling, that gives you joy and passion." And so I said, "Let me go for it." And so that was the beginning.
I absolutely love that. Now, Ron, I got so many questions. I'm gonna just bombard with you.
Okay. Open book.
Huh? Right. So many. So, okay. Well, first of all, before I get to all the questions, how in the heck did you get to narrate Brenda Jackson's books?
That had nothing to do with me. Well, I didn't know it was happening. I just got a call from her publisher, which is Harlequin and Harper Audio. And they just emailed me one day and said, "We have these books by Brenda Jackson. We'd like you to narrate them." Now, what often happens behind the scenes, which I discovered later, is they probably sent Brenda, and we can ask her, you can ask her sometime, I don't know, but they probably sent Brenda samples from 5 or 6 different narrators and asked her to do you like any of these people? That's my guess as to probably what happened.
What happened? I'm like, Auntie, how you get one wrong?
So that's how I got that first book. And I had never done romance before. That was my first romance book. These are the 3 books that are now on. Then they turned them in, one of them into a Passion Flicks movie.
Yes, the Brothers Honor.
Right, exactly. So there are 3 books in that series.
Yeah.
Right. Do you know what they're called?
One is the Brothers Honor to Avow. Oh my God, I know it's the Granger brothers. It's Dalton. Oh, Jesus. Oh my God, Dalton is my favorite one. You said.
I can find out right now because I have them on my website. I can just look right on my website.
Look right on your website, baby.
Yeah.
And it was like, here's the promise, here's the vow, and here's the something else. Jesus.
Oh yeah, I know. I have to find this because when I was telling my mother I was doing these. Okay, this is the other thing. I'd never done romance before, right?
Right.
And I used to, and you know, in my mind, romance was sort of cheesy. You know, I was like, romance, whatever. You know,
Right.
and I have to tell you, when I got to the beginning of the last chapter of that first Brenda Jackson book, I got all choked up. I had to stop. I had to keep stopping. I couldn't get through it.
Why?
Because it so moved me, you know?
Oh my God,
Yeah. And that's when I was like, oh, this is really beautiful. I'm so glad I got the chance. I'm so glad that they took the chance on me and gave me the opportunity, you know?
That is so freaking sweet. Yeah, I get choked up on all her books. I'll be like, Jesus, what's going on with that?
Okay, let's see. Can you see me scrolling? Oh yeah. You're right. There's a vow.
Mm-hmm.
There's the lover's vow. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Lover's vow. A brother's honor.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's not the story I was thinking of. I have this story, but if I can remember it, I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Okay, wait a second. Now I've lost you. Where's your screen? Hold on.
Right here. I'm right here. I'm right here.
Oh, here you are. Where the red dot is. Okay.
Oh my God. Okay, so
there's the series of books called like Seized by Seduction, Locked in Temptation, and there's
I think is that the Steel series?
Yeah. Seized by Seduction, Locked in Temptation, and something else.
See, now you're gonna make me go. And but everybody's like, "Shay, these are the books." I'm like, oh.
And you know what? I would say normally that I should be embarrassed that I can't call these books off my head. But I've done not just so many Brenda books, but just so many, like several hundred books that I can't keep them all in my head.
Now, the romance books, though, is she the only romance author that you do, or do you do others now?
That's a very good question. I'm glad you asked me because I'd love to talk about that.
Yeah.
No, Brenda was the first. Brenda was the first romance author that I worked for, and I did Brenda books in terms of romance. She was the only romance book that I did for, honestly, up until maybe 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. I'd only done Brenda books. And that's because a lot of people in the industry associate me with literary fiction. And because I do a lot of literary fiction, and I also do a lot of young adult and even some middle grade books, because I can do a lot of youthful voices and character voices and all that. And so a lot of people in the romance, writers in the romance world, didn't think of me, as it turns out, just a couple of months ago, I started a pseudonym, but it's not a secret.
I was about to say, you finna give it up.
More like a brand, you know what I mean? It's like Toyota and Lexus, you know what I mean? It's like people still know it's me, but I've started recording other romance authors under the name of Evan Parker, right? So
Evan Parker, okay.
Parker, and it's just that, so when they go looking for me, because sometimes they'll go, Brenda knows who I am, but if other authors go looking for me and they pull up Ron Butler, they may get me narrating a book that's made for 12-year-olds, and it's a disconnect. They don't know, they don't understand that I'm a character actor and that I can do something different. They just hear that and they immediately go, why did you send me here? This is not a good choice, right?
Right.
So creating this different brand is specifically just for romance, and just, so I send all those new authors that way. And now I'm starting to do a lot more books.
Okay. So, all right. So even though you didn't narrate for romance authors, were you into romance novels, or you wasn't even into reading romance novels?
No, I'd never really read any romance. Since, when I was a kid in the Bahamas, I did a lot of reading, but my mom never read what I would call like standard romance. She read some Sidney Sheldon, if you've ever heard of that author, in the 70s and 80s. I read those books because she had them, but she wasn't a big romance reader. So I sort of read whatever she had in the house. And I read a lot of, sort of sci-fi fantasy stuff, kid stuff, Hardy Boys, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I know about the Hardy Boys.
Yeah. So no, but now that I'm a romance narrator, I narrate some romance. I read a lot more of it than I ever did before. I read a lot of it.
That is I wish that you could just I wish some of the books that I've read that I love, I'm like, yo, and I listen to the audio and I'd be like, ugh. And so I'd be like, I wish that every romance author that I love, you could just narrate their books. Can we just send you their books and be like, Ron, just do it over? Like, I just, at least to know. Okay. And it's just, this is just me talking. These are not the words of Ron Butler, y'all. Y'all know how I am. When I'm listening to, when I'm reading a book,
yeah,
and I'm in the mood or whatever, and I put my headset on and I'm relaxing, I don't want no woman talking to me. I'm like, I need a dude, and then I don't want that, And then it's like in some guys, when they're doing the female's voice, I'd be like, Lord help him, Jesus. Like it just turns.
You don't buy it.
No, you don't buy it. But you, Ron, like you went to acting classes, and so they taught you how to do female voices as well, because you do them so like awesome.
No, I mean they don't teach. They didn't. I mean, I didn't learn specifically how to do that, but you learn how to use your instrument, right? It's an instrument. It's like playing a violin or playing a piano, and you got low notes and you got high notes, And so when I narrate, when I'm doing a character that's female, I'm playing on the the upper end of the scale, the upper notes, which means sometimes it's breathier, it's lighter. There's different ways that you can create to contrast that voice with the man's voice. There's also too, Brenda's a really good writer, and if the writers are good, they write the dialogue for women is different. The emotional point of view is different, and you have to step into the emotional point of view in order for people to buy it. And if you do that, then oftentimes, even if your voice isn't right on point, people will buy it. But you really have to step into the role. You have to step into that point of view, or people don't buy it.
I totally understand that. And baby, when I say you step all the way in, you steps all the way in. Now, before we start asking you questions about the whole being a voice actor and the romance world, all the good stuff, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about this whole Barack Obama skits.
Oh my gosh, how do you even know about that?
Ron, when I say I stalk you, I don't be playing. I was not.
No, you are right. Hey, you know what, Shay? Let me turn on some more lights in here now that it's getting dark, so you can see me better. Okay?
No problem. We'll look at your Christmas tree for right now because we like it. That's like so freaking cute. Oh my god!
I think that could help a little bit.
That helps.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna take the shade off this lamp. I told you I was ready.
Ron, we're so transparent here. That's what we do, honey. We're like family.
All right. Oh yeah, much better.
We love it. Absolutely love it. So yes, sir. You and this Barack Obama skit.
Well, I have to tell you what happened. What had happened was. I was at an audition for something, and a TV show thing. And somebody in the line ahead of me turned around and said to me, "Has anybody ever told you you look like Barack Obama?" And I said, "Actually, no. Who is that?" Because this was a year and a half before he got elected, right?
Right.
I was like, "Who is that?" And they're like, the guy from Illinois who made that great speech at the Democratic National Convention. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, no one's ever said that. And they said, you should send your headshot to Jimmy Kimmel, to the casting director at Jimmy Kimmel, because they do all these political sketches, and tell them that people tell you look like Barack Obama. So I had my manager do that. And 3 weeks later, Jimmy Kimmel called my manager and said, we want to hire him for a skit.
Oh my God.
Now, as you can see, this hairline, I've been like this since I was like 35. So I had to figure out a way to get hair, that looked like his, but I figured something out for that job. And I did the sketch, and it was basically Barack and Hillary doing a dance off, like break dancing on Hollywood Boulevard to see who was going to get the vote, right?
Right.
And after that, the woman who was Hillary said, there's a lot of business in the lookalike business, especially for political people. Like, political people are sort of like the upper echelon of lookalikes. They get paid a lot of money to go and speak at corporate events and pretend to be the people. And she's like, and he might win, and you could be the first one. You should be the first one. So I went with her to a lookalike convention, and I met a bunch of lookalike agents, and I wore a really bad wig, and I started getting jobs. And then what happened? I started getting a lot of jobs, and then I took some of the money from those jobs, and I went to a professional Hollywood wig maker. Like, this woman does wigs for like Tom Cruise and all these people in the different movies they do. And she made this wig for me. Oh, I should have brought it out. I have it. It's right in the closet.
Go get it, Ron. Go get it.
And I put it on, and it's really good wig. It should be, for the money it costs. It's really expensive because every hair is hand sewn, right?
Oh.
And then I'd mentioned True Jackson, right? True Jackson ended, and I had this idea for this musical sketch, this musical parody thing for Obama for a long time. And I had some time and some extra money. And so I finished writing it, and I hired a cameraman, I hired a producer, I hired my friends, I actually paid them, and I made this musical sketch and threw it on YouTube, and it blew up. I mean, it went viral. It got put on the Huffington Post in the days when that was a big deal, and it was on every news channel. Everybody was talking about it. And that really pushed me into that work, and I got a lot of corporate work after that for the rest of his time in office.
Have you ever met him?
I've never met him, but he lives around here apparently. So I figure one day I may just run into them somewhere. I mean, they've got Secret Service all over, but I'll run into him somewhere. I know that he saw the sketch that I did. I know that he saw it. So,
okay. How did you know? How he saw it? Like, just got back to you? Or?
You remember? You asked me. I used to work in DC, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
There's somebody, a coworker of mine had a friend, a coworker of mine in DC. This is, even though it was years later, he still worked at the same place. He had a friend who was part of Obama's staff, and he said, "Yeah, my friend told me that they showed it to him this morning." So I know he'd seen it, and he quoted it. He made this very obscure quote from it later on at a press conference when he was talking about something else. He referred to it, and I was like, "Oh, he saw the video. He liked it."
That's what's up, Ron. That's what's up. I'm just so freaking happy. That is cool, man. So, Ron, I know you may not know, but we're gonna ask you anyway.
Okay.
How many books have you narrated, and do they have like a common thread or theme?
I would say, I'm going to guess at this book, because I stopped counting right before the pandemic, but I'm going to say between 250 and 300.
You just sit there for like all day and just read books?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I
mean, during the pandemic, I guess we're still in the pandemic, right?
Yeah,
but I
mean,
mean,
the pandemic for the next
during the heavy part of it, from May of 2020, right, until probably 3 months ago, I did a book a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how long? So does it take you the full 7 to 8 hours to do a book, or it just depends on how the book is? I mean,
it takes.
What's the time?
Yeah, it takes, for, like, let's say an average. Well, Brenda has some short books and some long. Sometimes her books are like about 5 or 6 hours, and then she's got some that are 9 or 10 hours, right?
Right.
So a 9 or 10 hour book will take me a week. That's probably spending an average of six hours a day in the booth, right? Because it takes you about anywhere from 2 to 3 times as many hours recording as it does the length of the book, right? So if the book is 10 hours when it's finished, it probably took me anywhere between 20 and 30 hours to record, depending on how difficult the book is.
Okay. So so do you have to read the book first, or do you kind of like just go off memory, or do you like do it while you talk while you're reading it? Make that make sense?
No, you gotta read the book first. You got to read the book first, because sometimes, I mean, you gotta, you know, because the story has, you were asking about doing female characters versus male characters. Well, another aspect of that is you have to sort of know what the arc of the book is and what the arc of the characters are. Like, they start, you know, do they start off hating each other? Does she hate him at the beginning, or does she mildly dislike him, or does she doesn't even know him? And when does her attraction for him peak, and when does it end, and when do they get married, when do they fight? You know, there's all these things that happen, and you have to sort of know what the plot is, so that you know how to play each section. You know what I mean? You don't want to give too much away at the beginning. You don't want to play too lovey-dovey or too flirty at this stage if it's going to get more intense 3 chapters later, right? So you sort of have to know how to map through it, and that requires reading it ahead of time. Also, too, sometimes authors, well, you know, they'll spring something on you about a character like 300 pages in or 200 pages in. All of a sudden, they'll be like, he said with his smooth South Texas accent. And if you didn't read that beforehand, you get to 200, you got to go all the way back, and you got to fix that.
Then you have to fix that. Okay.
It has happened to every narrator I know. Has happened to at least once.
Oh my God. Okay, so when you are and how do you do your readings? And reading. So you read the book, you understand the characters, and then like, do you sit down and be like, okay, cool, I'm going to do chapters 1, 2, and 3 now. Then I'm gonna, you know, so you take them chapter at a time?
Do a chapter at a time. I do a chapter. Yeah, you do a chapter at a time. Each chapter is sort of like a different sound file. You know, you finish the chapter, you wrap it up, you export it, and then you move on to the next chapter, right? Okay. And I'll just do that, you know. I at this point I have enough stamina where I could do a 5 or 6 hour day, but I do it, you know, as long as I'm fresh.
Right.
You know, make a lot of mistakes.
Hold on, y'all. You know we be calling this shit out, and this time, you know, I got enough stamina. You know, now you mean this? You know, I'm a pro at this shit. That's what you're trying to say. But
before, if I had, you know, I could spend 3 or 4 hours in the booth, and then I would start making a lot of mistakes, right? And the more mistakes you make, you have to stop and you have to restart. You have to go back. You have to record over. Now I can go for much longer than that before my brain gets so tired where I can't do anything else.
I absolutely love it. Okay, so what do you love most about narrating audiobooks?
Being in complete control. I get to be all the characters. I get to be the director, right? I decide who's going to get what voice. I pick out, you know what I mean? I'm in control of all that. It's basically like being a director on a movie or a director in a play, but you also get to control all the performances. And I like that. It's really fulfilling. And I get to play roles that I wouldn't normally get to do outside of a book. Do you know what I mean? So when I'm in a Brenda book, I don't just play the Black characters, I play the white characters. And if there's an Asian character, I play that one. You know what I mean? I mean, in this day and age with sort of shifting, our shifting and I mean this in a positive way, towards having more authentic casting, even in audiobooks, or especially in audiobooks. I think audiobooks is actually pushing the forefront in that, right? But if you're one person doing a book, there's always going to be other characters that are in the book that are not of your ethnicity or not of your age, right? Or not of your background or whatever. And you get to do that. You get to explore that, you know, and you get to bring your best to it. And I love that. I find it really fulfilling.
That's what's up. Okay. So how do you select a book to narrate, and do you prefer a specific genre or types of characters?
I don't pick the books. I get requests. I get requests from publishers and producers and authors that will say, we'd like you to do our book, or we'd like you to do this book, or we think you're right for this book. We'd like to submit you, meaning we want to send the author, a sample of your work. It might be a sample that we already have from another book. Sometimes they ask me to actually submit an audition, meaning I have to record anywhere from 3 to 10 minutes of the book for them to send in. Because these days, authors are getting much more savvy, and to their credit, they should. But audiobooks is becoming a huge business.
It is.
We're almost at the point where audio sales are competing with actual print sales. And so authors want to be in control of who narrates their book. They want to have a say in it. And so oftentimes now, the more clout an author has, the more power they have, the more they have the right to be able to have a say in who narrates their book.
Absolutely.
Come to me. Do I prefer a specific genre? No, I like them all. One of the things I enjoy about my work is that, and this is sort of uncommon, but I get to a lot of different genres. So I think I mentioned before, I do romance.
You do, yeah.
Occasionally, I do a little bit of sci-fi, a little bit of fantasy. I do a lot of young adult, and I also do a lot of middle grade. Middle grade is like 8 to 12. And so I have that's quite a variety. Most people, I shouldn't say most people, but a lot of people they only do romance. Or
right.
And many times that's people's goal is they want to break out of that. How can I do something that's more? But I'm really blessed. I get to do a lot of variety. Right. Also, too, because I'm from the Bahamas and I can do those accents.
Yes.
I get a lot of different books because of that. Oh, I should say too, I do a lot of nonfiction.
Okay.
Because in case you couldn't tell from the interview so far, I have a very precise way of speaking.
Yes, I love it.
That lends itself to doing stuff that's very sort of factual, sometimes intellectual, right? Being able to sort of take those things and make them accessible and also bring some warmth to them is what I specialize in.
I absolutely love it. Oh my God. Okay. So when doing your audio, hold on, I'll get all these questions for you. Do you read a book several times before you record the audio, or are you like a one time? I got it. Let's go.
One time.
One time, Ron.
Yeah, just read it one time. I mean, it's like I said before. The more you do it, the better you get at it, right? Yeah. So something where
he's a pro, y'all. I'm sorry. You're a pro.
When I first started, I might read a book a couple of times. And like when I first, like the first Brenda Jackson book I did, I mean, that one that you looked at, A Brother's Honor. Yeah. Every character, like every brother had their own color of highlighter in the, I highlight him all one color, and I highlight this one all the next color, so my brain wouldn't have to work too hard in the booth. If I saw the blue, I knew that, I had to pitch my voice here. And if it was the gray, then I had to do here, a little more breathy. You know what I mean? And I did all this work. Now I read it once, I'm like, oh yeah, I got it. And I just go in.
And I guess that's awesome too, because she has so many series, with the brothers and connection. So like when you did the first series with the Granger brothers, Jace's thing, when you came back, like, okay, cool, his is in blue. So now I know I'm dealing with his brother. He's going to be in this book too. You can just kind of like go back to your, kind of like a little template thing, kind of.
And I have a file on my computer in the studio that says Brenda Jackson characters, and every main character that I've done, there's like a 5 to 10 second clip of that character, because what'll happen, because Brenda has all the Medeiros family and the Westmorlands are related to them, and this related to who. And so what happens is, I'll get a book and there'll be a character in it that I did in another book like 2 years ago.
Right.
I get to go back to that book and listen to that character without having to search through all the files. I just have a reference file, so I have a file that has references for all the different characters, and most narrators do that.
That's when we absolutely love that. So how do you decide on the specific voice and tone to do each character?
I look for clues that the author is given. Sometimes oftentimes for Brenda, she'll say, they all have deep, sexy voices. Okay, so then
they do, don't they?
Yeah. Then what do you do, right? Well, for example, I'm not sure, is it the Granger brothers, or it was a next set. But one brother is more of a businessman. He's an entrepreneur. The middle brother was a saxophone player, a Grammy Award saxophone player.
Yes, that's yeah. So
and the third brother was a retired former pro football player.
Yes,
right?
Dalton. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Dalton,
And she describes each of them as sort of different personality wise, you know. So in a situation like that, I go and I go, so I'm gonna choose in line with how they're written in terms of their personalities. I'm going to choose that eldest brother who's a businessman to be a little more tight with his speech, right? A little locked up, less flowy, you know, more clipped, more like Obama, for example, right?
Yeah.
The middle brother who's a musician, right? His voice is going to be musical, right? It's going to flow, it's going to have ups and downs, but it's going to be like legato, like music. Sort of like smooth and like waves, right? I think that, right? And Dalton's he's the most immature, like, right? He's a former pro athlete. He thinks he's got everything going on for him, right? So he's more like this, right?
Yes.
And you know what I mean? He just wants to kick butt, or he wants to look at it. He's a big flirt, you know. He's just boisterous and loud, and he doesn't, and it's just loose.
Yes.
And so that's how I choose. I look for the clues that the writer talks about in their personalities to see how that would come out in their voice, right? So it's not just, oh, I'm going to pitch them high or pitch them low or pitch them in the middle. I want to know what the essence of that person is so it can be reflected in the way they speak. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect good sense. You made me want to write a book just so you can read it. This is crazy.
There's money in it. Clearly, there's money in it. Do it.
Listen,
I'm writing one.
you got to narrate your own books. I love
That's
it.
exactly what I'm going to do.
Okay, so do you have a ritual routine you do before sitting down to record the audio, such as, you know, like, I know you said your voice strengthening, but like, what's your routine or what you do?
I get up in the morning. The first thing I do is I have a hot cup of water, right? So I take a coffee cup and I fill it and I put it in the microwave and I sip on that just to get my throat warm.
Mm-hmm.
And 20 or 30 minutes before I go into the booth, I'll start doing mouth warm up exercises and tongue twisters and singing exercises. So I'll be here in the kitchen and I'll be like, you know, I'll be washing dishes or something after I've had breakfast, and I'll just start going, rubber baby buggy bumpers, rubber baby buggy bumpers, lily lolly lolly lolly, lily lolly lolly lolly, 11 benevolent elephants, 11 benevolent elephants, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. And all I'm doing is getting my mouth warmed up. And then I'll do some singing stuff because sometimes, right, like, you know, if I'm using the top of my range for female characters, I want to make sure. So I'll just, you know, I'll do some singing warm up stuff. Because when I lived in New York and was doing theater, I did a lot of musical theater. Because I'm
I saw that. Yeah.
So I'll be like, you know, and I'll do scales, you know, and I'll do that for about, you know, 15, 20 minutes. And then I'm warm. And then I go in the booth.
He said, then I'm warm and then I go in the booth. I absolutely love it. Right. Next question. Okay. So name an audiobook that you just love to listen to. Like when you finish reading, doing your books and whatever, do you ever just later on, you know, get you a nice hot toddy or whatever and go sit down, or a glass of wine, just listen to your own book, you know, on the books that you have narrated? And if so, like, what's your
gosh. No, I can't listen to myself because if you're fortunate, I feel like I've just gotten better with more experience. And so when I listen to stuff, I hear, oh, I would have done it this way.
Okay.
I would have done it that way. And so it's difficult for me to listen without judgment. And I don't want to do that. So I don't. I listen to other people, you know.
So you do listen to other people?
Oh yeah. Not a lot. There's specific books that I think, oh, I want to listen to this. I want to listen to this as an audiobook. Like I said, there's other narrators that I really, really love who I think do fantastic work, and I like listening to them. I learn a lot. Like I mentioned, Bonnie Turpin. Bonnie Turpin did. You know, are you familiar with the Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead?
Yes.
Yeah, she did that book, and it was just phenomenal, just beautiful.
Now, books like that, I can listen to a female read it.
Yeah, right. It's literary. Yeah. I listen to that. I enjoy both the content, but also I learn by listening to other narrators, people that are better than me, so it's also an education. So that's why I do.
I get it. And you said, speaking of people who you think are better than you, because I just think you're the absolute best.
Oh, thank you.
What qualities makes a great narrator?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, we get deep over there sometime, every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people that are, good actors, because it's no longer where you can just sort of sit down and read the book for people. I think the consumer expectation, your expectation, for example, when you sit down to listen to a book, is you want it to come to life, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
it's almost like a movie. You're just not seeing the visual, and so that requires somebody that has the facility to do those character changes. But like I was saying earlier, to really step into the different points of view, so that you feel as though different people are speaking to you as you go through the book. Yeah.
I absolutely love that. Now, Ron, hold 1 second. I think I have a special person on the line.
Yeah.
Auntie Brenda, you are right.
Hi, I was on a Zoom, a Harlequin Zoom. So hi.
Auntie Brenda, Ron Butler is literally freaking out right now.
Oh my God.
Ron, say hi.
Hi, Brenda.
Hi.
Oh my gosh.
Ron.
I love you so much. I love your work so much. Thank you for trusting me with your books. You're fantastic. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm talking to Brenda Jackson.
Thank you, Ron. I love listening to you. I do. I love listening to you. You don't know how many times I've gone back and replayed some of my books, especially Follow Your Heart, because you're basically the main person that reads my books, the narrator. So, and I was just listening to Seized by Seduction, where you start speaking Spanish. I loved it. Oh,
He was just talking about that book.
Yes, Quasar Patterson. For those of you who have not heard Seized by Seduction, I put Spanish words in the book, but I was not expecting you to say them. You must speak Spanish. You do so fluently.
I do. I spent a summer in Spain, so I do speak a little Spanish. Yes. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad it makes you happy. I can't tell you that making the author happy is like the ultimate. I mean, I'm glad that the consumers like it, but the author, I want the author to be happy, and there's nothing better than that.
Auntie Brenda, did you know that you were Auntie, did you know that you were his first romance author that he ever narrated?
No, I did not know that, Ron. God,
No.
was your face burning at some of the love scenes?
Oh, not at all. In fact, those are some of my favorite parts to do.
Wow. Wow. I often wondered, I'm like, oh my goodness, Ron is reading this stuff. Oh, and you're reading it and you're doing an excellent job, but I have to wonder, where is this lady getting this stuff from? Well, it's romance, Ron, and I'm glad you don't have a problem reading it.
Oh no, I love it. I tell you, so there are sometimes in some of those scenes where sometimes I'll have to do it, 10 or 12 times a particular line in order for it, I believe, to sound right and really land. But that's the job.
Ron, do you be blushing when you be reading the love scenes?
Actually, no. I think if someone else was in the room, maybe I would be, because I'm by myself. No, I don't. I'm into it. Yeah.
Well, we're not gonna ask how into it you get to.
I meant when I'm in the booth, I'll be moving and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I'll be like, fingers moved up her thigh.
Oh,
and I'm actually moving while I'm in the booth and sort of acting it out. You
being touching on yourself in the booth, Ron?
No, but just pretending like my process is that I put myself in the scene like it's a movie. You want to know if I touch myself in the booth if I'm reading your auntie's books?
Okay, we'll get Auntie off the line. You can let me know if you touched yourself.
Oh, Lord. And you know what else I like about listening to you narrate, Ron? The gesture. Like if I put he chuckled, you actually chuckle. You
Yes.
don't say, you put that in there. You say, you chuckle. And I'm like, oh, that's neat. Everybody don't do that. Okay. You really make the reader or the listener feel that you're not reading a book. It's really a story that and I don't even want to say that you're narrating. I think that you do more than just narrate. You pull the person in and make them feel like they're a fly on the wall to this conversation. And one of my readers say, he could even talk like a woman sometimes, because you have a hero and a heroine. And some people, it's a man reading, and even when a woman speaks, it's still a man reading. Mm-hmm. You can convert your voice and make it low and soft, where you actually think, I'm like, is that still Ron? And he get a woman to do that. But all of that is still you, Ron?
All of it's still me. I'm so flattered that you like it and you appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Are you blushing, Ron?
I am. It's really sweet.
Auntie, I had to call you because he was like, he's never spoken with you. I said, you never spoke to Auntie? He was like, no. I was like, let me call her real quick for you.
And yeah, I was on a Harlequin Zoom, but I am glad that I called Shay right back and got a chance to talk to you, Ron. And thank you so much. I know when I ask for you, sometimes they, say, oh, he's booked up. He's this, he's that. I said, oh, okay. But I'm glad you're reading more and more of my work.
I am, and it's true. Sometimes I am booked up, but when I can, I make as much space as I can to say yes to your books, and I really appreciate it. Your books changed my life. They changed my life from the way I view romance, the way I view romance narration, doing the characters like you just mentioned, being able to do the female characters and exploring that, and it just opened up a whole new world of narration for me, and it's made me a better narrator, and it's brought in more work into my life, and it's because you took the chance on me, you and Harlequin. So I can't thank you enough, and I love it. I really appreciate it. I'm so grateful.
My readers love you, and they always say, Mrs. Jackson, Ron did great on this. Oh, Miss Jackson. So I am glad. My readers love you, Ron. So keep it up.
I shall. You too. Don't stop writing. I saw on Facebook today you finished, what is it? Something on Blueberry Hill.
Yeah. So you please make room for that on your schedule.
I'm doing that right. I'm actually dealing with that email right now, but yes.
Good. Oh, good. Ron.
We love that. Well, all right, Auntie, we're gonna let you go because I know you.
Catalina Cove book so far.
Say that again.
You have read all of my Catalina Cove books.
I have, because that was a series that you started after I started working with your books. So yes.
Right. Wonderful.
Oh, is Blueberry Hill a Catalina Cove book?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
Catalina Cove book number 6.
That's right. Because of course, Catalina Cove is a blueberry capital of the United States.
Look at you.
Blueberry capital of the United States.
Okay.
I read the books. I know what's going on.
Yes, you do. All right, Auntie. Well, we thank you for dropping in on this interview with us. Ron, I think he's about to cry, so we're gonna let you go. His face,
don't let Shay put you on the hot seat, Ron.
Oh, it's too late. She already has.
I'm like, Shay. She said, well, Auntie, I'm like, hey, I need him as my narrator. Do not do anything to run Ron off, okay?
No, I see. I've been good, Auntie. Ron wants to come on the cruise, the Brenda Jackson's Readers Cruise with me. So me and him go work it out. We're gonna partner up.
I would love that. My readers would love that.
That would be hot.
Yeah, we could do some live, narration.
Yes,
awesome.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
Call ladies up from the audience to read the ladies' part.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at that's what's up. Okay, Auntie, we're gonna work that part out. We're gonna work that out. All right, Auntie.
Wonderful.
We love you and thank you for dropping in
Thank
on
you
us.
so much.
Okay, thank you for inviting me and calling me and letting me be included. And thanks again for everything you do, Ron. Happy holidays. And
Happy holidays.
Be prepared for the house on Blueberry Lane.
Yes, will do. And happy holidays to you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, Auntie.
Bye.
Tell me you love me.
I do. I thank you. That was amazing. That was a Christmas gift. That's probably the best gift I'm going to get for Christmas. So thank you. Really, very sweet of you. Really.
I mean, I was like, oh, now that I can make happen.
No, that was really lovely.
That's what's well, let's see. Okay, we got a few more questions for you because we're narrowing down.
Oh, I remember the story while she was talking when the book that she mentioned, Seized by Seduction.
Yeah.
I remember one day my mom called me and she was like, What are you working on? I said, I'm working on 3 books by Brenda Jackson. She said, what's it about? And I said, it's about somebody that was forged in desire, then seized by seduction, then locked in temptation.
Yes.
The preacher thing on her.
Did she catch the Holy Ghost and fall out? I would have started shouting. Where is that book? Oh my God, Ron. This interview has been crazy. Wait a minute, I gotta ask you a few more questions and then we're gonna be done.
Okay.
All right. Because even though you're gonna have to come back on here anyway. Like,
sure.
Just
anytime. Maybe when it's a little warmer so I can sit outside by the pool.
Oh, that'll be hot. Then I'll go outside by my pool. Look, you sit by your pool, I'll sit by my pool, and we can just let it do what it do. Yeah. We'll call Auntie Brenda. She'll sit by her pool.
Okay.
I absolutely love it. Okay. Actors' moments. What's your most urgent priority for the rest of the year? For the rest of this year and 2022?
My urgent priority for the rest of this year is to rest. I don't think that I see how I just bring it down. See, I just brought it down. No, but I think I said I really am thrilled for the work and I've been blessed with work. But I need to recharge so that I can keep doing my best. And so the priority for the rest of the year is to rest. Now, that doesn't mean I don't have work. I actually have some book projects. But I've had them paced out, and the idea is to make sure that I enjoy my life, right? Life is, I get reminders, especially during this pandemic, but even this week, I've gotten reminders. Life is short, nothing is promised, and so you got to make sure you enjoy a little bit of every bit of your day. Do not put off enjoying your life the next day, even if it's a moment. Find a moment to enjoy your life because nothing is promised. And so that's my most urgent priority for the rest of the year.
I absolutely love it. Ron.
Yes.
Dead or alive?
My life.
If you were hosting a dinner party and could invite 5 people from
I hate this question. Okay.
Who would it be?
5 people from any era?
Any era, dead or alive. Who would it be?
Well, definitely Obama because of what we talked about.
Right.
Oh, wow. This is hard.
I know. I just went deep on you real quick, right?
Can you do it with me too? Can you pick 5 people too? So I'm definitely going to be Obama.
I can do Obama.
I know a lot of people when they get this question always say Jesus. I'm not going to say Jesus.
No, I don't want to see Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't want to go see him. He can come see me for a hot minute and he can leave. I don't want to go see him right.
Yeah, because you never. Yeah, that could go wrong really fast.
Really? Yes. No. Sorry. Let's see.
Oh my gosh, Oprah. God, I'd love to be in a room with Oprah.
Okay.
For a while.
Yeah, Oprah.
We think of historically.
Historically. I'm trying to think of what other people have said. Some have said, of course, like Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. Someone just recently said Harriet Tubman. Threw me off a little bit. Like, what? It was
Yeah, I'm gonna, and I'm sorry I don't remember his name, but and I believe he's still alive. But there's a black man in the South who spent 26 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit, and I read a book about him. It's a book about the Innocence Project, if you're familiar with that. For the Innocence Project is a nonprofit that helps pay for legal fees and DNA tests for people on death row or people who are in prison who are actually innocent. And his case is the thing that started the Innocence Project. And he has for everything that he endured, and for as long as he endured it, he's got some of the most amazing humility and gratitude that I've ever read about. And he's someone that I would like to spend time with, because I think I could learn something from being in the room with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got 3. That's good.
We got 3.
Just need 2 more.
Yeah, no one's ever asked me this question before. There's got to be somebody in history that'd be interested.
Or who's your favorite actor?
Oh, that's interesting. I think Paul Newman would be somebody that I would be interested in.
Okay.
And
who's your favorite person in the whole world?
Well, some of my favorite people are people that are already in my life, so I already know them.
Oh, so you don't have dinner with them?
No, I don't need to have dinner with them.
Okay, cool.
I have dinner with them. I didn't think this question would be so hard. I guess it's because there's so much choice. Do you know what I mean? When you say people from history, I'd be like, I could go back and go all the way back. Like who's who would I? There's so many people,
I get it. Well, I tell you what, this time we'll let you off the hook with the 4.
Yeah. And
when you come back, we need a fresh 5.
10.
Yep. When you come back, fresh 5. Love it. Last question. Before I ask this last question, I want to say thank you so much for coming on here. Like you were.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm so awesome. I just, I love you. All right.
This has been a pleasure. Such a gift. Look what you did. You hooked me up with Brenda. I mean, that's just wow.
I'm telling you.
Is it always like? Is this like black girl magic? Is that what that means? I mean,
that's what it is.
Always do this. Connect people and network, and
I do the whole networking thing. I do the whole hoopla, but you can't hook. I can't call her for anybody. Let me just be honest. It may be like 2 people. I can be like, hold on, let me get on the phone.
Yeah,
and you're one of the people. Yeah,
no, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, she's.
Do you have one more question,
or she's a rock star. Yeah, one more question. You ready?
Mine now, or what's going on?
No, I'm going to ask you the last question, then we're going to tell everybody bye-bye, and then me and you're going to have a conversation. One moment. You ready?
Yeah.
Last question. If you were writing a book about your life, what would the title be?
Grateful to be here.
I'm grateful that you're here too.
Grateful to be here. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for award-winning actor, audiobooks narrator, all that good stuff, Ron Butler Jr.
Thank you very much. Can I tell people how to find me on social media?
You know what? I was just about to say that too, but I got caught up in the whole, like hearing you talk. So yeah, tell everybody how they can get a
on Twitter, I'm at Ronnie Butler. Mm-hmm. So it's RONNIEBUTLER. I'm at Ronnie Butler. On Instagram, it's Ronnie Butler Jr. with a JR at the end. And Facebook, it's Ron Butler. And am I anywhere else? I'm also on LinkedIn, but why would you want to hit me up there unless you want me to come and speak at your company meeting?
I'm just saying, you never know.
But yeah, and also Evan, my pseudonym Evan Parker is also on Twitter as Evan Parker Reads. and also on Instagram as Evan Parker Reads. So all those ways you can follow me, and I love to engage with people. So if you DM me or something you don't hear from me, don't worry. It's just that I'm back
busy.
I will get to you because I love to say hello. Yeah.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, again, give it up for Ron Butler. Yay. All right, Ron, hold 1 second for me, okay?
Okay.
All right, you guys, if you liked the interview, and I know you did, please like and subscribe and share. You guys to share. All right, y'all know the routine. It's Wednesday night. 6 o'clock, you're right here near the Brown Book series. At 7 o'clock, we go over to Reese Ryan's page for authors behind the. Wait, hold on. Y'all know I'll be always messing this up. I go over there and I'll be like, I think I need to ask one day because me and Reese are friends. Girl, what's the name so I can get it right? It's Authors Behind the Pages. And then after we play with Reese from 7 to 8, at 8 o'clock, we cruise on over to Cruise Radio to be with Iris Bowling for Iris Moments. And make sure you check out Sarah McLean's Spade and Mate. Her podcast dropped today as well. All right, it's your girl, Shay Baby. Yo, the Raw Experience. Go to the website, rawexperience.com, and get your tickets. Registration is wide open. And this is an experience you guys do not want to miss. All right? All hearts and mind clear? God bless. I see you guys next week.
Open up your brown book, baby. It's for you, it's for us. The fantasies, no one can judge us, no one can judge us. This is for us. Open up your brown book, baby.